So before I play the intro for this review, which is for Walking Against the Rain, I just want to say to director Scott Lias, dude, I wasn't a big fan of your short movie Black Mass, but this levels, levels above. Let's talk about Walking Against the Rain. Hello everybody, my name is Kevin Halden and I am back for another review. This is Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British home for all of your news, reviews and exclusive interviews. We like to cover everything from the big budget to the low budget to the no budget. That's where my heart lives, it's where it lies, it's what I like to push, and it's what the website's all about, it's what the channel's all about. You will see from the plethora of videos down below, those are the movies I most enjoy covering. And here we have a movie by a director called Scott Lias. It's a director that I've been made aware of over the last couple of years through working with the Romford Film Festival. I got to see his short movie Black Mass, which I will be completely honest, as I always am, and say that it wasn't my cup of tea. I wasn't really into it. It just wasn't for me. But that's fine. Not every movie is for every person. But what I could see was we had a director who was keen on the mystical dark arts, and we had a director who kind of knew what wheelhouse he could play in. And I did notice that. So when Walking Against the Rain came along, I believe his first feature film, I was excited. I was very excited. I did not expect this movie though, and I'll tell you for why in a minute. But first of all, do all those amazing things, which is to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and ding that notification bell. It lets people know where we are, who we are, and how they can listen to us. Even if you can't do any of that, just tell a friend. Just tell a friend that you saw this review from this awesome guy called Kevin Halden, Nerdly Out Loud, and they may come to the channel, they may not. And today we're talking about a movie that also showed at Fright Fest. I've already done reviews for Eating Miss Campbell, Power Tool Cheerleaders versus the Boy Band of the Screeching Death. I've already done reviews for those two movies. This is another Fright Fest movie that got played, and I believe, or at least I hope, we might be showing it at Romford next year, which will be amazing. But I want to do a review because I am genuinely surprised and impressed with this movie. So, yep, let's get into it. If you've seen me before, if you've watched me before, you know exactly how I roll in these review situations. And that is that I talk about the plot of the movie, I get into the cast and the characters of the movie, then I move into what I did and what I didn't like about the movie, and then I give you my final Nerdly Out Loud rating. That's not the rating of nerdly.co.uk as a whole, but I am about 80% of the website. That's a lie, I'm overshooting. But I am pretty important because I am awesome. And my view is the one that counts. So that's that. Sorry, Phil, but you know it's true. Walking Against the Rain tells the story of Blair. Blair is kind of in this sort of like 28 days later, 28 weeks later kind of situation where something has happened to the world, or at least Britain, or at least this part of Britain that she is in. There's the whole big world building thing going on here, which is fantastic, but where she is, there is a little bit of something going on. She's kind of being chased, so she's living out on the wild, she's living off grid in a yurt. I know what a yurt is now because reasons. So she's living in a yurt and she goes out and does some scavenging and whatnot, but we find out pretty quickly that there's something extra going on out in the world. One day while she's out, she finds a radio, and using this radio, she finds that there is someone else out there, Tommy, who also has a radio and they can communicate. They realise pretty quickly that they're quite far away from each other, but not so far that it wouldn't be worth the trip. So they both set upon their way across a barren landscape, wasteland, whatever this country has become, and they're both going to make their way there. But obviously stuff and things are going to happen before they meet. That's the movie. Blair and Tommy are going to meet up with each other. They're going to meet in the middle. But obviously humanity, as we know it in this movie, we don't really know fully what's happened, but as we know it, humanity is not what it used to be. Can she trust him? Can he trust her? Can they trust anyone they bump into along the way? What is chasing them? It's one of those movies that is quite tense and psychological in a way, because you want them to meet each other, you want them to get there, but at the same time, you're kind of like, I don't know, like, what the hell's going to happen when they get there? Are they going to be the right person? Are they going to be who they think they are? So I don't want to do too many spoilers, so I'm going to move straight on to the cast and characters of this movie. Chances are I'm going to completely butcher this name because that is what I tend to do. If I do get it right, hit me in the comments. That's always nice. The guy from Death Pursuit did that. Appreciated it. So Sophia Eleni plays Blair. She plays the main female lead of the movie, and she is pretty much doing all of the heavy lifting. Now, I'm not taking anything away from her co-star, which is Rhys Douglas. He plays Tommy. I'm not taking anything away from him because he also does some pretty heavy lifting as well. But in the grand scheme of things, she kind of goes through the mill a lot more than he does. So I really feel like she held this movie up, and she has a lot of great dialogue, a lot of great scenes to work with, and she's clearly a great actress. I found her entirely believable. When she seemed scared, I found it to be quite a scary situation. When things were tense, I wanted the best for this character. I won't lie, at the same time I kind of wanted the worst because I like it when the monsters come out and kill people. But I really wanted her to get through this, and I really wanted her to get there and you find out Tommy's a nice guy. Will we? Won't we? I don't know. But again, Rhys Douglas as Tommy is also doing a great job. He's not doing anything wrong at all. It's just that I prefer the time we spend with Blair. But then again, maybe that's because that's the character we establish first. That's the character we meet first. So I'm all in for her. You know what I mean? So I guess that's maybe why I preferred her over Tommy. But to be fair, Tommy does get some of the best like runaway scenes, you know, like run away when the shit hits the fan and he has to book it out of there. He does get some of those best scenes, which is great. And frequent Scott Lyers collaborator Johnny Vavash is in the movie as well as the old man. He's just somebody that they come across. That's all fine. He does a good job. He's good enough. It's Johnny Vavash. It's an actor that I am coming across a lot more throughout this whole endeavour of going through indie movies and whatnot. He's very prominent on the scene. I have seen him over the last couple of years that I've mainly been involved with Romford, so I do know the guy's work and I'm happy to see him doing it, and in this movie he's actually really cool. So yeah, let's get into what I did and what I didn't like. And my number one like of this movie is the solitary aspect of the film. I likened it at the start to the likes of 28 Days Later, and I don't do that lightly because in that movie, you know, Cillian Murphy, when he's kind of walking around, he is very disorientated, but he's very solitary, he's alone. There's a whole wide world out there that he doesn't know anything about right now, and that's what you're getting here. Whether you're spending time with Blair or spending time with Tommy, you don't necessarily know what the thing is that's happening. You don't know yet, and that's scarier than anything else. Remember like Jaws when the shark wouldn't work, so it just ended up not being in the movie as much as Spielberg wanted it to be? But that made it scarier, because you didn't know, the fear of the unknown, and that's what this film was. And when Scott Lyers decides he's going to show us something of whatever's out there, it just works, because it's practical, it's dark, and it's just, I was absolutely in. And yes, when you get the odd jump scare, whether it's something there or not, I shit my pants. So there you go, you've done a good job. If you can make me shit my pants, you've done a good job. I mean, not literally, I didn't literally shit my pants because that would be ew. Another thing I like is cinematography. I've mentioned this in a few films recently, and that's because I'm finding on the independent scene and the lower budget area, some of these movies, you cannot fault the cinematography. You really can't. It's next level stuff, and it just keeps progressing and getting higher. Now you could say, but Kevin, it's out in the wilderness. It's not hard to make the countryside look good. No, it's not hard to make the countryside look good. It really isn't. But you've also got to make it intriguing. You've also got to make me want to look over that fence. You've also got to make me want to turn the camera around to see what's around there. And that's what this film does. It shows enough without showing too much so that I feel like I need to see more. And I'm not doing spoilers because I don't want to. But when I mentioned earlier about world-building stuff, the end of this movie is just outrageous. Outrageously good. It just makes you want another 2 hours of this movie, which I just thought was great. and I don't want to give too much away, but I will say, Scott Lias, you and your team, whoever worked on that, wow, you blew me away, and I needed another movie straight after it. Make no mistake, those are all things that I really liked about this movie, but Sophia Eleni is definitely far and away the star of the movie. I mean, of course she is. Like, there's only two real stars of the movie, and she, for me, carries the movie on her back. She, for me, is the reason I wanted to watch, the reason I kept watching. And I'm going to let you in on something here. One of the reasons that I wasn't a big fan of Black Mass was the acting. Now, it was only a short movie, so you don't really get a good grasp of what these girls can do or what Johnny Vavash can do. You don't really get a good grasp of that. But that was one of my points of contention, was the acting from the two lead girls specifically. I didn't think they were terrible, so don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. I just wasn't massively impressed. Sophia Eleni in this movie has absolutely cemented my thoughts on this actress. She can go far, she can do whatever she wants, she has range, and I want to see more of what she can do. And an interesting side note to that is that the other sister in that movie, Black Mass, is played by Charlie Bond. Now, if you've seen any of my reviews as of late, you will know what I think of Charlie Bond. I absolutely love her as an actress. Power Tool Cheerleaders versus the Screeching Death Boy Band, whatever it was called, Eating Miss Campbell. Charlie Bond is cementing herself, in my eyes, as a lead actress who can carry a movie. So you can forget about what I say about what I thought of Black Mass. These women going forward, these actresses going forward, have absolutely impressed, and I love it, so I can wash that away. The palette is clean. Scott Lias, fantastic job you've done with this movie, Walking Against the Rain, so I may as well just get into my final rating of the movie. And this is one that I find particularly hard to mark down in any way, because it doesn't really do anything wrong. You know, the practical effects that they use are excellent. Are they a little bit janky at times? I guess you could say that, but you kind of get that with practical, and I can understand why they've went that way, and I actually appreciated them for that. The camera work is nice and smooth, and even when it's supposed to be jumpy and shaky and all that, it was jumpy and shaky for the right reasons, so I was happy with that. Across the board, the acting's great. I mean, I know you're only really dealing with two main actors, but they were both excellent in the movie. The direction's excellent. I might as well just tell you, I am dropping a 5 out of 5 on this flick. I genuinely really like this film, and I want to see more of this universe. I hope we get more of this universe. I would like to think we're going to push forward with it, because he's set something up to really move forward and give you more, whether we deal with these characters or we move on to some other characters. This is a world I want to explore, and Scott Lias, please tell me that you are writing more, that you're doing more, and we're going to see more of Walking Against the Rain, because I'm sold. I'm already sold on whatever you do next with this. There's a compelling world-building story. This movie finished and I had Cloverfield levels of excitement. You know what I mean? Like, when you don't get to see anything and then you see something, they show you a little bit, and then you want the next movie. It's kind of just like that. 28 days later, when that finished, I needed to know, okay, what happens in 28 weeks? We found out. But yeah, I am going to go. I'm going to wrap this up. I am getting out of here because I'm just talking for talking's sake now. I really liked Walking Against the Rain. I think people should check it out. Scott Lias has made a bit of a jump up in his levels, so that's all good. That's all we ever want to see. This has been Nerdly Out Loud, the official channel of nerdly.co.uk, your favourite British website for all of your news, reviews, and exclusive interviews. Get yourself onto the website, check out the reviews, the written reviews, the videos, the interviews, and check out all the other podcasts that are on there. I am out. See you next time.